The day is here. It's kegging and strawberry flavoring day for the strawberry American wheat. We're going to be using this true citrus, true strawberry powder. It's crystallized strawberry. I got all my stuff here to do my, I'll say usual, I've done this once before, addition, oxygen-free addition using SodaStream, a soda bottle there. So I'll go over that. Basically, I'm just going to boil some distilled water, keep it nice and clean, and then dump 2 ounces of the strawberry in Pyrex, add enough water to get it nice and dissolved, and then we're going to put it in the keg, which is sort of swinging you around here, draining right there. That's going to go any second, so I'll hit pause and we'll jump back in a minute. Okay, so step 1 is just going to be I'm going to measure out 2 ounces of this fruit powder. I'm actually going to dry those scissors off. They've been in sanitizer, and of course wet stuff plus powder. I'm going to boil the water and I'll re-sanitize the scissors later. But they should be clean. Again, you want to keep stuff as clean as possible. Once your beer is done, the chance of infection is, stuff like this is less likely. I'm more worried about the oxygen than I am about a post-fermentation infection, but you do want to keep stuff as clean as possible. So there's my true strawberry powder. Cut this open. I'm going to take a whiff. I'm interested what this stuff smells like. Wow, it smells like strawberry quick. Not going to lie. And that's not a bad thing, necessarily. Pretty intense strawberry aroma. So I'm just going to turn my scale on here. We'll measure out 2 ounces of this stuff. Which is half the packet. So hopefully it'll fit in this. Think about this. Hopefully it'll fit in my, I don't think it's going to, well, yeah, well. Yeah. Just barely. Just start slowing down here so the scale can catch up. .990. Okay, 2.047 ounces. I'll take it. A little bit more. For the purposes of this experiment, I would almost rather have too much than too little. Curious how this is going to work. But anyway, there is your 2 ounces of very strong smelling strawberry stuff. So next up, we will get some distilled water boiled. And then, like I said, my plan is dump this into this Pyrex container and only dump enough water in there to get it dissolved, because I don't want to add a bunch of extra liquid to the beer, basically. So I'll get that going. You don't need to watch me, excuse me, boil water, but we'll come back in a second. Okay, so just want to get a shot of this, and I want to make clear I did not dump boiling water into the strawberry stuff. I didn't want to cook it. I just boiled the distilled water to make sure we're starting clean. And then let it cool off, and then dumped some in here. You can see that the texture is interesting. It's kind of clumpy. I don't know if the intent is, if I wasn't trying to do this crazy oxygen-free thing, if you probably could just dump the powder in the keg and it would dissolve over time. So I'm going to take a few minutes to try to get it nice and mixed in, so that way when I'm doing the force of the strawberry solution out of the Coke bottle into the keg, I won't have clumps that are going to get left behind, and my ratios won't be off. So I'll do that for a few minutes, and we'll come back when we're ready to shoot it into the keg. All right, several minutes later, this is pretty well mixed in, as you can see. I am having a little bit of a pause here in my brain because, okay, well, look at it this way. See those bubbles in there? I'm sitting here whisking this thing. And by the way, if you want to go this route and do it with the, water added to the powder, I would suggest just use put it in a big bowl and use a little hand mixer. But here's the thing. I'm trying to keep oxygen out of the beer. And what did I just do but stir a bunch of oxygen into this stuff? So now I'm debating, do I forge ahead with this kind of slurry and put that in the beer? Or do I take the other half of the powder which I, oops, bumped the camera there, which I just put in one of these things, and just dump that into the keg, which is going to be less oxygen introduction. I'm leaning towards this because I can just, the keg has been sanitized, purged. I could pop the lid off the keg and just dump this powder in there and then fill the keg. And I'm thinking that probably will be better off than introducing a volume of, you know, fluid here that has a lot of oxygen in it at this point, given the fact that I've been stirring the hell out of it. So change plans, got to adapt. I'm going to go this route. We're going to skip all the cool oxygen-free transfer with the Coke bottle stuff. We're just going to dump the bottle in the, or dump this remaining powder in the keg, and hopefully that will introduce less oxygen than a bunch of fluid with oxygen. So I'll get going on that and come back in a second. So I went the route of just dump the powder in the keg. Powder keg. Hopefully that will be, I'll be better off. The interesting thing though is, since I had that other half of it there in the liquid, it gave me a chance to taste it. It tastes really good. It's very concentrated, but it tastes nice and tart and not fake and not too sweet or any of that. It just tastes like really intense strawberry. So I'm hoping with the powder in the keg, and I'm going to transfer the beer oxygen-free, obviously, and get the beer on top of that. Hopefully that will absorb nicely. It'll also probably introduce less color, which I'm kind of on the fence about, given, well, I'll reveal this later, but the name of the beer. But you know, it's probably on balance a better thing. You don't want a pink, bright pink beer. I think this mixed in 2.5 gallons probably would have done quite a number on the color. But we'll see. That's part of the fun of all this stuff, is you never know what's going to happen exactly. So I'll get the beer out and get that transferred to the keg next. And there in all its glory is the beer itself. It's looking pretty good. It was fermented 10 days at 65 degrees. Diacetyl rest for 1 day at 70 degrees, cold crash for 3 days. Nice solid yeast cake on the, or trub cake on the bottom there, and it's looking, the color's looking pretty good. Of course, it'll look different when it gets off of that reflective stuff that's in there with the, you know, fermentation, you know, leftovers. But basically, as per usual, see if I can do this gracefully. I will be going into the out of the keg again, because then you get nice gentle transfer down to the bottom. And I just had that blow off there because, of course, if there was pressure in the keg fighting back, the beer wouldn't flow. One of the nice things I like about this cold crashing setup I do is once you're done cold crashing, you just pop it out of the fridge and it's ready to go, because this is exactly what I need. I just have a little bit of pressure on the fermenter, open the spigot. Keg has been, you know, sanitized, purged. In this case, I had to open the lid real quick and dump that strawberry stuff in there, which I still think on balance is a better option. If people have other ideas or thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them, because this is the first time I'm doing, you know, I'm trying to be way more sensitive to oxygenation as I do batches nowadays. And that one, I just figured I'd record midstream. I'm like changing my mind midway, but on balance, I think that was the right way to go. So I'm going to go ahead and open the spigot and transfer the beer. And you can see as it goes, there's obviously some bubbling down there. Sorry, I've got it on a tripod and I'm moving this thing around, but this I like this. It works really well. Keeps things nice and easy. If I hadn't been dealing with all that addition stuff, it's a pretty quick process. And, you know, at least based on the from the color in the tube, of course, it'll be a little bit off because the tube isn't totally clear. You can see that's pretty decent color, I think, for this kind of beer. Get a little bit of, kind of give it a little more gas, I think. There we go. You can see the fermenter was sucking in a little bit there as it goes. For reference, it's about 2 psi. Actually, it's now up to about 4, but I'll let that off a little bit. That's probably a little bit much. I think to keep this as clear as possible, I'm not going to get super greedy. Sorry to walk in front of the camera there, but I'll tip it up a little bit to get as much out of here as I can without disturbing anything. That's one tricky part of this setup, but
It smells delicious in here.
does it?
Oh, sorry, you're recording.
Yeah, that's fine.
It smells like strawberries.
Okay. All right, and there you have it. I'll take your gravity reading with that little bit that's left, and we'll see where we wind up. Cheers, and there you have it. The strawberry is in the strawberry American wheat, because otherwise it's just an American wheat, which would be okay too. So the final gravity was 1.018, a little bit higher than 1.015 we were shooting for with this recipe. I was a little bit higher on my original gravity also, so hopefully it'll balance out. My version's going to come out probably 6% or so ABV. But, you know, within parameters, all this stuff is an experiment. And as far as getting the strawberry in there, I would love to hear if people have opinions on, hey, quickly dump the powder in the keg, even though you give up the fact that the keg was purged, versus dumping in liquid that you had whisked, and essentially you're introducing oxygen into that. On balance, I still think I made the right call, but hey, if I'm sure some of you have way more experience with that sort of stuff than I do, and maybe it wouldn't have mattered. Again, just one of those decisions you make on the fly and you cross your fingers and hope it came out well. So more when we actually get to the tasting in a couple of weeks. Cheers.